The country's leaders descended on Brisbane for National Cabinet today. State and Territory leaders discussed health reform and the housing crisis with the PM. National Senate Leader Bridget McKenzie joins me in the studio. Bridget, I want to get to that, of course. That's a big news day. But you are non-stop at the moment. You're travelling the country. What are you doing?
Well, I've spent this week post-Anzac Day in Western New South Wales, arriving in Dubbo on Anzac Day Eve to tour the Inland Rail construction. So through Narromine, Narrabri, woke up in Moree this morning to really see the benefits that that project is delivering right now. And met with Kerry Schott, the author of the review into Inland Rail this afternoon here in Sydney, and her review states unequivocally this is a nation-building project. We were right to start it. It's already delivering economic benefits on the ground in these communities, and we've just got to get on and finish it. So super excited, been travelling with Mark Colton, my National Party colleague.
Okay, well, good on you for making time for us, because I know you're heading to the airport straight after this. I am as well, and my flight's just delayed, so make sure you check.
I will not stop you.
$2 billion to Medicare. The PM says that's to strengthen Medicare. Is that a lot in the big scheme of things?
Well, I'm part of a federal government that put record funding into public health, put record funding into Medicare when we were in government. And there does need to be a serious conversation with state governments post-COVID about how we make our world-class universal healthcare system more sustainable. We haven't seen the detail on that, but one of the things I have been concerned about that's come out of National Cabinet today was the Razor Gang that Anthony Albanese and the Labor premiers are unleashing on our $120 billion infrastructure pipeline. These are projects that were, funded in consultation and partnership with state governments, with local councils, communities right across the country over the next 10 years. And the fact that Albo is going to take, a slash and burn approach to that, those projects is very, very concerning.
Well, I was going to ask you about housing, and it's, of course, off the back of the migration announcement yesterday. Infrastructure is a fairly significant part of having a whole big bunch of people come here. Let's focus on housing now, though. How do you encourage more people to go out to the bush? Because housing is one of the biggest issues we face, and it seems like now it's just, well, let's make a plan. We've had nearly a year. Where is the plan?
Well, absolutely. Local councils that I've been meeting with out in regional New South Wales this week have put housing as a critical issue for them. They need the land release, the planning approvals, the environmental approvals, but they also need, the funding for sewerage and water treatment, all those sort of things. These are towns that were built for maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people that have now an economic demand for a workforce in, multiples of that. We want to see more migrants, more Australians indeed, more people out in rural and regional communities. We can give you a lifestyle you can only dream about, but also a well-paid career now, which I think in decades previous wasn't the case. So
really good point.
We want to get people out there, help us build, the future generation of the regions and indeed our nation. And you're not just, picking fruit. There are some really fantastic jobs in really globally focused careers that are well paid. So we do need to fix the housing piece, and I'd hate to see the Labor Party only focus on the suburbs to do that.
No, absolutely. And then it's about getting the message out there, because what you've just said is crucial about the type of jobs, the calibre of workplace that now exists regionally that may not have previously. Get the message out there.
I think COVID really kind of stimulated that thinking. So many, you still ended up married after being locked up with your family. You still like your kids. Yeah. That, you wanted a different lifestyle. You wanted to get the work-life balance better, spend more time with your family, spend more time in nature. That was one of the findings out of COVID. And living in the regions absolutely provides you that opportunity.
What about the voice? Everyone sitting around that National Cabinet table is pro the voice. Will the Liberals lose face significantly if the yes vote gets up?
Well, I think that's ultimately going to be determined by the Australian people. The onus on those of us who don't think the voice is the way to close the gap, who don't think it will materially make a difference for Indigenous Australians and indeed will divide us further than bring us closer together. Those of us that are committed to reconciliation and recognition are also simultaneously against the voice proposal. So I think as we get on the ground and you have the conversations in communities about what the implications are in real time and in a common sense way, I think more and more Australians, as they're taking a look at this, have concerns, and that's shared by the legal fraternity.
Deputy Liberal Leader Susan Lee apparently has taken a chip out of the Nationals. That's what the headline said. I got very excited that you were coming on because I thought it was going to be juicy. When I actually read the article, I mean, it says that the Liberals are not just focused on the city, they're looking regionally. Are they trying to tap into your market? Are you annoyed?
Oh, look, I read the article too. I saw the headline and went, wow. Where I come from, Erin, that ain't no chip, I can tell you. I'm the Liberal Party obviously has some lessons to learn out of the last election. They're completely focused on that, and we, as their coalition partner, wish them all the very best for that work. I don't think that is assisted by attacking the National Party at all. We're unashamed about what we do, how we do it. We're backed by our electorates 100% on what we've been doing for 120 years now, and we won't take a backward step in that.
Okay, a couple of quick things. The shutting down of Liddell, reaction to that today?
Well, just a shout out to the workforce in the Hunter. Thank you for keeping the lights on, not just in New South Wales, increasingly in my own home state of Victoria as a result of the work that they did there. I think we've got to have an honest conversation in this country about how we're going to have affordable and reliable baseload power generation. As you know, we've seen the Labor Party going to remove 20 gigawatts as a result of that. Now, we need to start talking small, modular nuclear.
Absolutely, the technology has come so far. It's not The Simpsons with Homer.
Don't be afraid.
No.
The G20, our trading competitors, all avail themselves of this. We need affordable and reliable baseload generation. The International Energy Agency says it's the only way we can get to a net zero position as a globe. Lift the shutters. Let's have the conversation.
Two quick things. 65 million. I keep adding
speed.
another one because I want to get to the CFMEU with you quickly. But 65 million to the AFL in Tasmania to upgrade a stadium. I know you're a St Kilda fan. Good move or bad
Go
move?
Saints against Port tonight. Look, I'm super excited that the national competition for the AFL is actually going to be completed with a Tasmanian team. I think it's super exciting for that state. The state government and the AFL, I think, should be responsible for making sure that they have a place to play in that is worthy of the national competition. So watch this space, I think, tomorrow. But while the Labor Party's putting money down for stadiums in Tasmania, they're simultaneously cutting road safety funding to Tasmania. So it's about priorities.
And people are still struggling to pay their power bills. CFMEU, Andrew's government, what's going on?
Well, I would say a little bit of cronyism. What we've seen is the Deputy Premier and Infrastructure Minister in my home state of Victoria knew that the CFMEU was bullying Indigenous businesses in the construction industry in big major infrastructure projects to the point that they weren't getting contracts, and that's just the way the CFMEU does business. She knew about it, hasn't done anything about it, is backing the bully boys from the CFMEU over closing the gap and economic empowerment for Indigenous Australians in Victoria. And, when you look at what one of the first actions of Albo when he got to power was to, shut down the work of the Australian Building Construction Commission, which was a body tasked to oversee that bullying behaviour and to, end it in our big infrastructure projects, really beggars belief on where the Labor Party's priorities when it comes to supporting Indigenous Australians.
Well, we're still waiting to hear the reaction from the protests the week before, and it's the same old thing. Bridget McKenzie, you are never the same old thing. You're wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a safe flight tonight and really appreciate your time. Okay, thank you.